and then at the end of time, they're cast in the lake of fire at the end. They're in hell now, but they'll be cast in the lake of fire at the very, very end of when God sets it.
That's what it is, hell first, and then at the end, so the lake of fire is the second.
Second, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always kind of get those confused, because I think we're so used to just saying hell,
Yeah.
you know, for all of it. So hell and the lake of fire.
Even Satan himself, you know, will even they will Satan and the false prophet and the beast and all that they will be cast into the lake of fire at the end time, and all that their name is not written in the Lamb's book of life. So there's two places actually. Now Peter tells us about these. Now this lets us know that this is a real place, that it's real. Now in Revelations chapter 11 and verse 7, it tells of one of the residents of this place. Now let's look at that. Who's living in this place anyway? Who's going to be residing there? Revelations 11 and what did I say? 7. Would you read that, Melissa, honey?
Yes, ma'am. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them.
Now this is going to be one of the residents that's going to be in the beast and the false prophet. Now, who comes out of this bottomless pit when we study more in this, we'll study a little bit more about this a little bit later on when we go over into chapter 11. But this bottomless pit has a lot of demons and stuff in it. Now in Revelations chapter 17 and verse 8, let's read that. It tells again and some more that will be there in there. Revelation 17 and 8. Now this will be it. Brother Calvin, I believe that's you.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and she'll ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
Now let's look over Revelations chapter 20 and verse 3. We wouldn't have to look up all of those, but I wanted you to realize that this bottomless pit contains some pretty savory characters. Sister Debbie, would you get that chapter 20 verse 3?
Yes. And cast them.
Well, I tell you what, read verse 2 to go with it so it blends together.
Okay. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years shall be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season.
Yeah. See, this is some of the residents that are going to be in occupy this bottomless pit. Now we'll study a little bit deeper on that when we get on over there. It is a place of Satan and his demons. But we know who has the keys. We know who has the keys. We read in Revelations 1:18 where that Jesus has the keys. We read that quite a while back. Jesus has the keys. Now here in Revelations chapter 9, and that we're studying tonight, verse 1 and 2, the star, look what it said, the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. Evidently Jesus gave the key to this angel to open it up so that all of this destruction could come out of it, because it was shut up before. Now, there's a lot of holes and a lot of bottomless caverns and things in the earth today that sometimes they say they can't even find the bottom of them. But I don't believe that is in any place that I want to believe that this is hell because of the way that it reads here at the bottomless pit. Now, the angel was given the key to open it up, and out came so much smoke, and the sun and the air was darkened, as we studied in Joel chapter 2, verse 2 and 10, and Joel 3, 15. Let's go back and read that just to refresh our memory. I know you know it. Let's go back and read Joel chapter 2. It said, so much smoke that the sun and the air, it said even the air was darkened. Go back to the book of Joel. It's a little bitty book. Chapter 2. Raymond, do you feel like reading tonight?
Yep.
You want to read that verse, verse 2, and hold on to Joel. Read verse 2 and read verse 10.
A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong, there hath not been ever the like, neither shall any more after it, even to the years of many generations.
And go down and read verse 10.
The earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
Miss Janie, go over to the 3rd chapter of Joel, same book, and read verse 15.
Okay, ain't find it. Ain't found it yet. Well,
It's right before Amos. And
oh. I got it.
mhm,
What chapter?
3 and 15.
3 and 15.
Mhm.
The sun and the moon shall be darkness, and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
Now, Joel prophesied this twice, way back 1,000 years ago, well, even way before Christ was even born. He prophesied this would happen. And when we look at, back in our lesson now, and we read that verse, I think Sister Debbie read it. Let's go back to Revelations. Let's look at verse 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and upon them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. No wonder everything was dark because of the evil locusts that came out, because of what they represented, the evilness of what they represented. Now, let's look at what it said. Locusts, the locusts of the earth came out, and it was given the power as scorpions. Now, when you and I, the regular locusts have no king, and the regular locusts eat green vegetation. That's a locust that we know today. Now, how do we know that? I'm going to prove it to you. Let's go back to Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 27. It's not going to be the regular locust that you and I know. Proverbs chapter 30, verse 27. I think it's you, Melissa. If I can find Proverbs.
and 27.
Mm-hmm.
The locusts have no king, yet go forth all of them by bands.
Now, the locusts that we know, that like ants have a queen. The ants have a queen, and I imagine some of the other bugs have kings and queens. But the locusts, it says, have no kings. Now, we're going to find out that these that came out of that bottomless pit have a king. They have a ruler. And regular locusts eat green grass. I'm bringing that to your attention for a reason. Now, let's go to Exodus chapter 10. Some people Sister Shirley don't like to tell you something and not be able to back it up. Chapter 10, verse 4 and 5. Brother Calvin, I believe that's you. We're going to have you read both of them. 4 and 5.
Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow will I bring the locusts into the coast, and they shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth, and they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which groweth for you out of the field.
See, they eat the green stuff. That's what locusts eat. Well, we know that for a fact. How many times have they've had swarms of locusts that even out west, and it would actually devastate the crops and completely eat them up, you know. And that's what a regular locust does. Now, let's see what a regular scorpion does. Now, the Bible don't tell this, but any of you that's seen any of them around here, a regular scorpion that we know today, they're about 10 to 12 inches long. They're little bitty guys. And they can curl up like an egg, you know, they can roll up. And their sting causes chills and burning and a fever. That's what the regular scorpions do. And the regular locusts eat all the green vegetation. So we know for a sure fact that it's not regular locusts and scorpions that's going to come out of that bottomless pit. That's for sure, and we know that because I wanted to back up what I was teaching here tonight. Now let's look at verses 4, 5, and 6 back in Revelations, and we'll see what these scorpions and these locusts did. Sister Debbie, I believe it's you. You want to get verse 4? Revelations 9.
Yes. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads.
Brother Raymond, you want to get verse 5?
And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man.
Sister Janie, get that verse 6.
And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
Oh my goodness, you know, we don't want to be here, do we? Aren't you so glad that God's going to take his church away? Now, look what he said. And it was commanded that these locusts, they hurt not the grass of the earth, nor any green thing. And now, if you notice, it said up there in that it was going to be for 5 months. This is what they were instructed to do. They were not to eat the green vegetation and not to hurt the men who had the seal of God on their foreheads. Now, I believe in my thinking that this is the 144,000. Remember, God sealed 144,000 of the Jewish people, of the Jewish men. And he said, look what he said. Neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. Now, I don't know, I don't think that this would include the 2 witnesses, Moses and Elijah. I don't think they have appeared on the scene yet. But now remember, when the 2 witnesses come back, which we believe that is going to prophesy for so many days, nothing can harm them. Touch them in no way. But that's on over in the scripture, and I don't believe it's more. You read about them over in Revelation chapter 11, and nothing can hurt them. But I don't believe that's the ones he's talking about here. I believe it was 144,000 that was just sealed, that we just read about over here in chapter 7. I believe that's the one it was. Now, they could be, but I don't think so. Now, the torment of the locusts will last 5 months. Now, can you imagine a locust of this day and time not eating anything for 5 months? He'd be dead, wouldn't he, if he did any green vegetation? But these locusts won't. It said the torment of these locusts will last 5 months. The orders were to torment them like a scorpion, but not kill them. This would probably be the sting, because they had the sting in the tails. They would be the fever and chills and pain, and like a scorpion does, but I would assume with just a little bit more power. They do have the power to do that.
Do you think that is 5 months, as in we look at 5 months?
I do. It's the first 5 months in the tribulation period. Actually, Revelations gives you almost a time period, a month and day and time period in months that kind of like we know. But I would think it would 5 months. And then look what it said down there in verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. I know today sometimes a lot of people get in such a terrible, terrible shape physically that they wish to die, that their body's in such a racked with pain and so forth and so on. But in this particular time, no matter how many times they get stung with these scorpions, they're not going to be able to die. God's not going to permit them to die. They're just going to have to suffer. Aren't you glad, Brother Dale, we won't be here?
Amen.
I'm so glad we won't be here. Now, let's see what these scorpions or these locusts look like. Let's read verses
7.
And I've got 8, 9, and 10 here, and I missed my 7. Let's read 7 through 10. I don't know whose time it is. Is it
I think it,
It's Melissa.
Melissa? Get verse 7, honey.
And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men.
And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions.
And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle.
Now, let's read that verse 10 also, Brother Raymond.
And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months.
Now, some people want to believe this was like tanks and that sort of thing, but I don't think so. This is demons. This is wicked demons that Satan has is the king over. Now, look what it said in verse 7. These locusts were like unto horses. They weren't little bitty things. They were like horses. And they were ready for battle. Not like the 10 to 12 inch ones that we know about today. These had what seemed to be a crown on their head, a crown of gold on their head. And their faces was like the face of a man. And they had hair like a woman. And their teeth was like a lion. And they had breastplates of iron. And their wings sounded like horses and chariots running to battle. And in their tails were these stings to torment men for 5 months.
That sounds terrifying.
It is terrifying. When Jesus gives the angel the key to open up that bottomless pit, and out of that pit, this I believe is demonic spirits, demon and demonic spirits that Satan has the rule over, that he is the king over, and that is what is going to be loosed upon this earth. It's sad to think that some of our people are going to wait until they're standing in this position after the church is taken home and all this devastation is coming up on the earth. And I believe what the scripture says. I believe what it says. Look, it said they had breastplates of iron, and their wings sounded like chariots running into battle. Look down at that verse 10. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tail, and they had power, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. It won't be like one sting and it's over with, like we get stung with a wasp. Brother Raymond?
But you know what I still love about it? We go back up to verse 4, and God still has control over them.
Yes, he does.
Even though Satan may be their king, God still says, you're still not touching mine.
See, even in during all this devastation, there's going to be that 144,000 of God's elected people that's going to be preaching. There will be many saved when they see all of this, but they're going to lose their lives. Why wait that long? Why wait and have to go through this when you might not even have the opportunity or the chance to accept the Lord as your Savior? Oh, my. We just don't even want to go there, do we? Now, I pushed you a little bit quick tonight, but now let's read that verse 11. And I think that we're going to read verse 11 and 12. Who is it? Whose time is it?
Over there. I read that.
Oh, okay, I'll read.
Read verse 11.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon.
Get that 12th verse, Sister Debbie, and we'll stop with that one right there.
One woe is past, and behold, there comes 2 woes, more hereafter.
Now, let's look and see who their king was. Now, if you notice, it said, and the king that was over him, the angel of the bottomless pit. Remember who was called an angel? Lucifer, or Satan. He was an angel at one time in life. And in the Hebrew tongue, his name is Abaddon. Now, however you say it. In Hebrew, that word means destruction. It's Abaddon. In Hebrew, it means destruction. But now in the Greek language, it means, we know that this is none other than Satan, but in the Greek language, Apollyon, or it means destroyer, Apollyon, it means destroyer. And that is Satan. He is a destroyer, and he was an angel. And this is none other than Satan, who leads this army of his demonic creatures as an army against the people on earth for about 5 months. And this is just one of the very first beginnings of the plagues or the trumpet, the judgments that are going to be out upon the land. No wonder when we read over there in Revelations 8 and 13 that the angel said, woe, woe, woe. because of such a horrible thing that was going to happen up on the earth. Now this first one here is the first woe. There's 2 more to come. Do you think, can it get any worse than this? Yes, it can. It can get much, much worse than this here. I trust that we, as we study Revelations, don't be afraid. We know how it ends. We know what the book ends, and we know that after the tribulation, there's going to be 1,000 years in the millennial reign of perfect peace here upon this earth. And after the millennial reign, shortly after the millennial reign, God's going to permit old Satan to be loosened for just a little bit longer. For all the people that were in that 1,000 years millennial reign. You think, Brother Dale, with all that peace and safety and happiness, nobody would really turn away from the Lord. They would be so happy and glad. But there will be some, because God's going to turn Satan loose one more time at the end to go through and to see if there's anybody else that won't stand for the Lord. And that's when then he's going to have the great white throne judgment and cast them all into the lake of fire and bring down his new Jerusalem up on this purified earth. And that's what we're looking forward to. But mainly the ones of us here tonight, we're looking forward to the rapture of the church. I'm so glad that the Lord said that he wouldn't put any more on us than we can bear. Now, right today, and even today, more so than yesterday, trouble on every hand. I mean, every time you turn the news on, there's trouble here, there's trouble there, and there's trouble somewhere else. And even we as Christians, believing in the Lord, Satan is trying to pick at us and aggravate us and confuse us to get our mind off of Jesus. And once we get our mind off of Jesus, Satan can sneak in and he can take over and devastate us. And we don't want that. Keep your mind fixed on the Lord. A young lady of our church called me last night, and she had her car tore up. It cost around $2,000 that she didn't have to get it fixed. So, see, Satan is even attacking Brother Raymond. His back is so bad he can't hardly sit back there in the seat tonight, but he's here listening to the word of the Lord. Satan is reaching and grabbing and snatching, but don't let him get a hold of you. Keep your mind fixed on Jesus. Our school is starting back, and invariably there would probably be devastations in some of the schools. Maybe shootings or whatever. I pray not. I pray not. Lord, don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. Accidents and things to our young ones. We've got this election coming up, and we've got the 2 candidates that, the Democrat and Republican, to be elected, whichever one that God chooses to put in there this coming fall. And it's just grab and snatch and bite and slander. What happened to the good old-fashioned just talking about the pros and cons and the good things that we need to build our country on, without talking about how bad you are? How bad you are. Hold on to Jesus, because God's on his way. He's on his way. I know I cut you a little bit short, but I didn't want to get down into the 6th angel. This would be the 6th seal, and we'll start with that for next week, good Lord willing. And the Lord don't come before then. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you got a little bit out of it. Don't let this scare you. Just make sure that you're not here when this takes place.
Amen. Give her a hand.